Yo, welcome in to the super awesome podcast. I am Captain Pete, and I'm here with Anthony.
So, dudes,
That sounded wrong. Fuck. Butters. Butters, what have you been up to? If we talk about
mostly
that fucking
sleeping.
Jeep again, I'm going to be pissed.
What?
That stupid ass Jeep. I don't want to hear about it.
Well, you brought it up.
I know, and I don't want to hear it.
I've been mostly sleeping, but yesterday I started working on a small cabinet to put my uranium glass in.
Uranium glass is sweet. I don't know
Yeah,
why anybody ever thought I don't know why anybody ever thought to make like plates out of like with uranium so they glow. I don't know. It seems like a weird idea, but it's kind of cool.
yeah. I don't think uranium glass isn't like dangerous. It's not like
I know it
back in
has
the day people
uranium.
put radium inside like health tonics and people's jaws would fall off.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying. Just the whole the idea of it is a little strange, but it glows in
But,
the dark, so that's cool.
yeah, it glows under black light. So I'm making this cabinet. Gonna put some black lights in it. See if I can get them to glow full time,
So you're trying to be like a carpenter, like Jesus?
just like Jesus.
Well, all right. Didn't y'all have like a big ass snowstorm?
Yeah, pissing
Like
me
it's
off. Woke up to
currently a
like 4 inches
snowstorm?
of snow.
Yeah. Fuck that. It's not snowing here. Speaking of here, I haven't done shit. What did I do? I haven't done anything interesting. My truck's throwing all kind of fuel trim codes because the exhaust is fucked up. Uh,
Just straight pipe it.
nah, it's fucking rust. It's like the pipe is like separated in half, like where it Y's down. It goes into a Y. One of the sides is like just fucking fucked up.
They'll do that. I had to rip the heat guard off of my Scion the other day because I was
Why?
driving it. It was going like heat
Dude,
guards do.
my truck was doing the same shit. I was driving, and then like, cause all where all the bolts were, little like rust had developed around every single bolt, so it just kind of fell and it was like sagging, like going rang 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 like the whole fucking time. So I had to put like washers on it and like bolt it back up a little. I didn't want to take the whole thing off because it was a heat shield was like this fuck. It was huge, and I'm like, it's probably there for a reason. So I
You
used
don't
like,
need a heat shield.
I mean, I've
I
ripped off heat shields in the past
I think I've
because
whipped every heat shield off of every car I've owned.
well, they're there for a reason. So I didn't want to. I fixed that one to where it stayed on. But yeah, it's annoying,
Every car I've had, the heat shield always falls off. And the hood, I always got to slap the shit out of it to open it.
dude.
Common thing.
Your fucking brother. When I told him on that Silverado I had, I was like, you got to fucking hit the hood a little bit to get it to pop, and then he
Yeah, and you
punches the
fucking
fuck out of
Donkey
it,
Kong the front of it.
dents the hood. Fucking asshole. Uh, but yeah, nah, I guess that's what's going on over here. Daytona 500 today. We got to get this podcast out of the way so I can watch that Daytona 500. But yeah, this week on the Super Awesome Podcast, we're going to be talking about the Toxic Avenger. Uh, yeah, released. When is it released? Released April 4th, 1986. Yeah, we are talking about the 80s Toxic Avenger. I'll get into that in a second. April 4th, 1986, Toxic Avenger. Directed by Michael Herz and Lloyd Kaufman. I think Lloyd Kaufman's like the one of the main influences about the whole thing. Starring Andrew Miranda, Mitchell Cohen, Pat Ryan Jr. I don't know any of these fucking people. Either way,
I was trying to
it's
see if I could find or recognize anybody in this movie, but couldn't
yeah,
find any connections.
it's not. There's like no famous people in this movie. It says it has a budget of 500,000, and I don't think it had any box office shit because it didn't go into movie theaters. This is kind of a.
It didn't.
I don't think so.
I was getting mixed results on how much money it made.
No, this is like a it's like its own niche area of movie. Um, but yeah, I think it's funny if you look at the cover of the movie. So it obviously says the Toxic Avenger, but it says he was 98 pounds of solid nerd until he became the Toxic Avenger. And yeah, he's a Toxic Avenger. Basically, it's a movie about a guy that. Okay, well let's just get into it. Okay, so we're in the fictional town of Tromaville, which is a shitty place to live, I guess, because it's riddled with crime. But we're in Tromaville, and our main character, Melvin, is this, well, he's 98 pounds of solid nerd. Melvin is this skinny, nerdy
More like
janitor.
mentally handicapped than nerdy.
Yeah, he's got something going on. His elevator doesn't go to the top floor. Um, both his paddles ain't in the water.
Yeah.
He's retarded.
We're dropping an R word
I don't give a fuck.
in 2025.
Cancel me. Oh no. But no, I mean they call him a retard in the movie.
Did they?
Yeah, but no,
Called him a fag
Melvin.
too. They,
Yeah, they did call him a fag.
they threw it. If you're politically correct, this ain't the movie for you. They
Yeah, if you're
threw it
politically,
every word.
yeah, if you're politically correct, this also isn't the podcast for you. So if you got a, if you got a giant vagina, you might want to leave now. Um, but either way, Melvin is like the janitor of this health club place, and for some reason, everybody hangs out at this health club, and he's just the innocent little janitor guy, and for some reason, everybody fucks with him. They just bully the shit out of him, like all collectively. Every person at this health club, like there's the main guys, the main bad guys or whatever, and their ladies. They fuck with him a lot, but everybody joins in, and they're just like relentlessly mean to Melvin. Uh, and that's kind of the whole thing. Like everybody's like in the beginning, everybody's a dick to Melvin. And then one of the bad guys, his girlfriend lady, she's gonna like do this big prank on Melvin. Like she's like, oh, we're gonna fuck. Basically, she like tricks him into thinking that they're gonna do the old, and she gets him to put on this like tutu dress
You
thing.
like it's so sexy to wear this tutu right here. He's
Yeah,
like, I ain't wearing no pink. That ain't no sissy.
yeah,
And then she pulls her breasticles out,
she sure does.
and he's like, oh yeah, I'll wear whatever you want.
Yeah, so he puts on this tutu thing, and then uh, he gets like embarrassed in front of everybody at the health club, and the entire place is like chasing him down, making fun of him, and then he jumps out of a window and lands. Okay, so he jumps out the window, but before that, there's a semi truck with two dudes doing cocaine that pull up with a fucking unsecured load of toxic waste on the back of this
Yeah, just
flatbed
no
truck.
caps on these barrels.
So he jumps out the window and lands in all the toxic waste, and then he starts transforming into the Toxic Avenger. But can we talk about okay? So our main bad guys, Bozo and Slug, that's their names in the movie, and their respective girlfriends. They're like serial hit and run murderers.
Yeah,
So like when they're like, oh, it's Friday night, let's go out and have a good time. What they do is they drive around and they run down people in their car and kill them, which I was just like ridiculous to me. And there's like a newspaper bulletin in the beginning of the movie where they're like hit and run murderers, fucking still not found or whatever.
I
And they
missed
have like
that.
Bozo and Slug. They drive around and run people over with their car, for fun, and they've developed a game, a point system, and their point system is racist for some reason. You get more points. Like, what was it? What was the one you get the most points for? Hitting a Puerto
Puerto
Rican?
Rican.
Yeah, you get 30 points for hitting a Puerto Rican, and you get 25 points for hitting like any other minority of the group, and then you get
Are there a
like
lot of Puerto Ricans in New Jersey?
I, I guess, but
You
and then
get
you get
points
like
for hitting little kids under 12.
yeah, you get double points for hitting children. And so in the beginning of the movie, before Melvin gets turned into Toxic Avenger, just to show you how bad the bad guys are, they're driving around looking for some people to run over, and then they see a kid on a bicycle, and that's double points, right? So they fucking run over a kid on a bicycle
I don't know why it laughed so hard at that.
because it was it was so brutal.
Yeah, so aggressive.
They run over this like 12-year-old on a bicycle, and he's like, they hit him, and he's like on the ground, like crawling, and then they see him in the mirror, and they're like, oh, he's not dead. So they fucking throw it in reverse, and then really aggressively, a lot of practical effects in this movie, run over this kid's skull and splatter it all over the ground.
Usually in a movie, when a little kid gets hit by a car, it just almost hits him and then it shoots to his shoes just flying into the air
No, this was
in
this was
slow
aggressive.
motion.
He goes up
But
over
no, this
the
showed it. It showed the whole thing.
yeah, and then they back over his skull, crush the little kid's skull, splatter it all up. And then the two ladies come out with Polaroids, and they take pictures of the person they just ran over, and that it's like a great time for them. So that helps paint a evil picture for the antagonists and stuff in this movie. But yeah, that's those are bad guys. But either way, Melvin, he lands into toxic waste, jumping out the window after he gets humiliated, and then he starts transforming into the Toxic Avenger. So he goes from 98 pounds of solid nerd to like a big ass muscular guy with a fucked up face. He's all like melted and bubbly and shit. I did think it was hilarious when he's transforming or whatever, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And then those two cops show up, and one of the cops touches him,
And
and
his
then it
hands
sets
just
it sets his
start
hands on
melting.
fire. Thought that was goofy. Like he just from touching Melvin in his like transformation, it sets that dude's hands on fire. That was hilarious to me for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, he turns into this big ass meltedy monster, and then he's the Toxic Avenger. He tries to go back to his house to see his mom or whatever, and his mom's like, "Ah!"
He's like, oh, Ma.
Oh yeah, that's another thing.
He's a lot more mentally collected after he transforms.
Yeah, he transforms and then he's like well spoken, but it's hilarious. Okay, so there's three people that play the Toxic Avenger. There's Melvin, the skinny Melvin, and then there's the big guy in the prosthetic face suit thing, and then there's the voiceover guy. So when you watch this movie, Melvin has this ridiculous voiceover voice that's obviously not like in the scene or whatever. So like he'll be doing something and it's like, "Hey," like I can't even do the voice because it's so obviously like
Don't worry,
overdubbed.
miss. I won't harm you.
Yeah, it's
I don't
like
know what came over me.
it's hilariously overdubbed. Um,
It's very opposite voice from the voice that he had before he turned.
yeah, he had this goofy nerd voice before, and then he's a monster. But the thing is, when he's the monster the whole time, it's like, it's
He's
always like
constantly
making,
growling, but
yeah,
when he speaks, it's a very collected
yeah,
voice
it's like
that
this,
reads books and wears glasses and shit.
yeah, it's like this monster noise the entire time. He's like, "Roar," and then when he speaks, he's like, "Yes, how may I help you today?" Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't match up, which I think is kind of the point because this movie is not to be taken seriously. I will say though, I think like it's obviously supposed to be like goofy, but the acting from like everybody is just a little over the top. It's like a little bit too much. Like I
Oh
know it's
yeah,
supposed to be goofy, but it's like Jesus. It's a little ridiculous at times. Yeah.
agreed.
What's the first? What's the first? Okay, so after he becomes a Toxic Avenger, Toxie. Uh, what's the first? Who's the first person he fucks up? Oh, he's
The
walking.
the
He gets jumped by those three guys.
oh yeah,
Cigar face.
cigar face, the cross-dresser dude, and the other person that's not as
Yeah,
remarkable.
there's another thing in this movie. There's a tranny in this movie, and he gets fucked up.
And that came up. I was like, hey, that's back in the '80s. That's when you could dress as a girl, and nobody had a political issue with it.
Yeah, it was just a guy cross dressing. Who gives a shit? And you could beat the shit out of him, and nobody cared.
Yeah, you could be a girl if you wanted to, back in back in old America.
Yeah, he gets jumped by these three guys, uh, and he fucks him up real bad.
Yeah, real aggressively.
Well, oh no, he doesn't get jumped by the three guys. The three guys they're about to kill a cop.
About to
Cigar,
shoot his drunk off.
yeah, cigar face guy like burns a cigar in the cop's forehead, and then they're just beating the shit out of him, and then they're about to like fucking 357 Magnum his balls off, and then the Toxic Avenger comes in and saves the day, and he just fucking beats the shit out of all of them. He kills two of them. He doesn't kill cigar face though.
Yeah,
I
just throws
forget
him in
how
the
he.
trash can and he gets away. Which
Yeah,
I thought he was dead the way he stuffed him in that trash can all aggressively.
yeah. He stuffed him in the trash can upside down and then started punching his nuts, which I thought was fucking hilarious. He just starts going so like right in that guy's balls.
Yeah,
Uh, no, he fucks up those guys. That's his first encounter. When does he meet the blind lady?
that was when those people were messing up that taco restaurant.
Yeah, okay. So that was his first encounter. So he saves the cop, and the cop like tells the newspaper and everybody like, I got saved by a monster, and everybody's calling him monster hero and shit.
That
Uh,
was supposed to be the original name of the movie.
yeah, no, there was a couple names for his movie, uh, that that got tossed. Monster Hero was one of them that they were gonna go with, and then somebody came up with Toxic Avenger, which is way better than Monster
They
Hero.
named it Toxic Avenger like post production. That's
Yeah,
why
that's
nobody really calls him Toxic Avenger in the
yeah. So
movie.
I was gonna say in the movie, the name Toxic Avenger is never actually uttered. Um, but I was gonna say another fun fact about the movie. Oh, did you know that there's a fucking 2023 version of they remade Toxic Avenger and it just hasn't ever come out?
Yeah, with Peter
It's got that midget in
Dinklage
it
and
and
someone
Elijah
who's
Wood.
yeah, Elijah Wood. And that's I saw the ad for that, and that's what made me want to remember this movie. And I was like, oh, we should watch the old one. And then when I was looking into it, I guess they just never released it.
No, that movie's never been released, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's completely made, and they didn't release it. They're like they can't find anybody to release it because I guess it's just such a weird niche movie that
Yeah,
they don't think anybody's gonna watch.
they say it's like unmarketable, unreleasable, or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they did it in the '80s. Like you got your own fucking like different movie culture because of movies like this. I'm like, yeah, they could totally release it, but I guess they
They
just
were
didn't.
saying it could be lost media, even though it's like you spend all this money on this movie, you
Yeah,
might just put it in storage.
I think it's stupid. Enough people will come watch it because this movie, the Toxic Avenger, there's four of these. They made four Toxic Avengers because this one was pretty popular. Uh, they had they made four movies and there was a kids TV show, an
Yeah,
animated show.
and a video game.
Yeah, video game. They had toys. Uh, and I saw something. There's a Toxic Avenger musical,
Oh yeah, I think that was
which
also streaming.
which I'm like, yeah, this movie was popular as fuck. So if you're gonna do the remake, I'm sure people will go see it. But whatever. I think it's weird to have a midget as a Toxic Avenger, but
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they were gonna like
is he gonna
do force
grow?
perspective, like the opposite of what they did to Elijah Wood in Lord of the Rings, where they make him larger in scenes.
No, that's what I'm
That'd be
saying.
cool.
Like, how do you, I don't know. I don't know how you make a midget the Toxic Avenger, but whatever. Uh, but either way, but the back to the other Toxic Avenger, the original one. So after he beats up the three guys in the alley, saves the cop, people are starting to hear about him. Uh, why does he go into the Mexican restaurant?
I think he just hears a ruckus. I don't know
Yeah,
if it really explains. He just kind of shows up.
yeah, he just kind of appears. But we're at this Mexican restaurant, and because Tromaville is just like a dystopian type of city, like this movie really gives you like a dystopian comic book type like vibes. You know what I mean? Like Sin City or something, where it's just like everywhere you go is crime, and it's like over the top, ridiculous crime.
Yeah. I mean, these very extreme gangsters are robbing a taco
Yeah,
restaurant.
yeah. These three dudes, and they're like they got like face paint and shit on. You know what I mean? They just look like comic book characters. But these three dudes come into this Mexican restaurant, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna rob the place." So there's like it's your typical robbery scene, like when they first come in, and then one guy stands up and he's like, "Just take me hostage, and you can let everybody else go." And they're like, "Okay," and then they shoot that guy with the shotgun,
Yeah.
which I thought was hilarious. They just
A dude was supposed to open up the register, and he was just standing by the register dancing like throughout the whole robbery. Like they forgot they were supposed to rob.
Yeah, they'd actually they didn't rob anything. They just like killed some people. So the one
That
innocent guy stands up, he gets shot. And then there's this
start,
blind lady,
yeah, start messing with the blind girl, and then her dog starts barking, so they shoot the dog.
which I thought was hilarious
I
because
thought it
he
was I did start laughing because
because
later
people
on in the movie, I was like, maybe they just grazed the dog, and Toxie has maybe some healing powers to save the dog's life. And then it flashed to what the dog was doing, and I'm like, oh no, that dog's fucked. He's like completely dead.
no,
He's
I think
inside, they're outside.
I think it's funny. I feel like the dog getting shot is almost more alarming than the kid getting run over. You see the kid get
Right,
run over,
what
and you're
was
like,
it?
"Oh, damn, that's was surprising." And then the dog gets shot, and you're like, "Oh, fuck!"
Uh,
I didn't
some
think they just blast the blind
some
lady's
reason it
dog.
looked more lighthearted when it was like when it showed the dog's aftermath.
Yeah, he's just laying there with his like fucking guts hanging out. But yeah, they fucking shotgun blast this golden retriever, the seeing eye dog of the blind lady. And so after they kill her dog, and then the head bad guy uh, yanks up the blind lady and pulls her skirt up, and he's about to rape her
Yeah, he's gonna give her a cramming.
in the Mexican restaurant in front of everybody. Like they're in the middle of a robbery, and he's like, "Well, I got time for a rape." Doesn't make. And what does he say? He's like, "I've always wanted to cornhole a blind bitch."
Yeah,
I'm like, I was
and that
laughing fucking really hard at this. I was like, Jesus Christ, this movie is just fucking is going off the rails right now.
and then that's when Toxie shows up.
Yeah, that's when Toxie shows up, and that we have probably, in my opinion, the best like action sequence of the movie, like with the most unique way to kill everybody. But Toxie shows up, he stops the rape from happening, and the main like leader of the little criminal guys, he starts fucking him up first, and in the process of fighting him, he rips his fucking arm off.
Yeah, he didn't even notice he had his arm ripped off.
Yeah,
He's like, "Come on, let's do this," and then he's like, "Ah!"
yeah.
And he
He's
beats him
stand
with his own arm.
he's standing there. Toxie ripped his arm off from the fucking shoulder, and it's like squirting blood out. And he's like still trying to fight, doesn't realize. I just thought it was hilarious the way because it looks like he's gonna like throw him over his shoulder, like do like one of those roll moves, and he just fucking tears his arm completely off. I thought that was hilarious. So he tears that guy's arm off, that guy's like down for the count for a moment, and then there's a guy with like a 44 Magnum, and he's just kind of standing there. He doesn't do anything for a
Yeah,
while.
he's just standing there dancing throughout most of this
Yeah,
scene.
and there's the guy with the half painted face or whatever, uh, and then Toxie has a solid tussle with him. How does he kill that guy? I can't remember.
He puts a sundae in his mouth and then
Oh yeah.
puts him in the milkshake mixer.
No, dude, I remember watching that and I thought the for the actor guy, so Toxie's fucking him up. He's like beats him up and then he's got him on the counter and he pours a bunch of milk in his mouth. I was just thinking about the actor because the actor's actually laying there and he's just pouring all different kind of shit in his mouth. I'm like, that guy can't breathe. You know what I mean? He dumps milk in his mouth, and then he stuffs ice cream in his mouth, and then he puts chocolate syrup all over him, and then he does whipped cream, and then he puts a cherry on top. It was
Yeah.
fucking
And he puts him in
hilarious.
the milkshake mixer and then a bunch of blood just starts coming out of his nose and everything.
Yeah, so he
It
blends
was
that
such
guy's.
a long scene. And then a dancing guy, he tries to get him.
Yeah, he
And
puts up the best fight. Like it takes him a moment to get to him.
but he deep fries his hands, drops them in the fryer.
Yeah, the guy with the Magnum that wasn't really doing anything. He like puts his hands in a fryer basket, crushes it around his hands, and then bends all this metal around him and sticks his hands in the deep fryer. And that's how he gets that guy.
Yeah.
But the
And
the the one armed guy's not done yet.
well, he just picked him up off the ground and threw him in an oven.
Well, yeah, I thought he was dead though. So he picks up that guy and like stuffs him into a pizza oven, which
Yeah,
is
he wasn't having it.
yeah. And then that was the end of that fight scene. Uh, and then Melvin kind of after that he develops like a relationship with the blind girl, and then
Yeah,
they become a thing.
she can't see how hideously deformed he is.
Yeah, it's like that movie with the fucking guy with the face.
I think isn't it
The
just called Face?
I think it's called Mask. It's
No,
about a
Mask.
real guy that's got that fucking disgusting face.
Yeah.
He's all like fucking deformed and shit. God, if I was back in those days and I saw that thing, I would have fucking be like, kill it, kill it. All right, but anyway, he develops a relationship with the blind girl, and he's like, taking down crime around the city and shit. Um, and then he fucks the blind girl. I didn't think they were gonna go there in this
Oh
movie.
yeah, they crammed. Every
Yeah,
time there's a sex scene, I always feel really awkward in my house because I got the TV and there's a giant window behind the TV, and I got the highest house in my neighborhood. So anytime there's a sex scene, I just assume that everyone walking by is like, this guy whacking it in his living room.
probably. Uh,
Won't deny.
I mean, you could get a curtain.
We got curtains, but they're very thin white curtains, so you can still see right through them.
We'll get thicker curtains.
I didn't buy no curtains.
You fucking buy all kind of shit. Sheba makes you buy. You ain't gonna get no curtains.
Yeah, because I'd be buying them fancy blackout curtains.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Get some of that. Or just be complete white trash and put like tinfoil all over your window.
Something Sheba would do.
Anyway, he's in the relationship with the blind girl. And then in the meantime, the mayor of Tromaville, he's this big fat fuck. And he's a bad guy.
Yeah,
Like every movie or whatever, it's always got a bad guy in there. Or the political guy, the governor, the mayor, whatever. They're always bad. And he's getting word of this the monster hero that's going around killing everybody. And they want to kill him. They're like, he's a monster. We got to kill him. And that's like his whole deal.
yeah. And he's out for money. He wants to take, I think, the nuclear waste from the landfill because
Yeah.
there's like waterfront property underneath it. And then he wants to move it over to like the water filtration plant and potentially poison all the water, but he just wants to make more properties and make money.
Someone's poisoned the water hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big fat mayor is the bad guy. Uh, and he gets like the entire like the National Guard and everybody to come after Melvin or Toxie, whatever you want to call him.
For the most part, it just goes into a montage of him fighting crime,
Yeah.
and then he gets goes back to the bullies that were messing with him in the first place.
Well, no. Yeah. Fuck, we're gonna run out of time. But so he kills the guys that were fucking with him. He drives the one. He gets in his car and drives him off a cliff where Bozo dies, but Toxie is fine because he's the Toxic Avenger and he's all strong. But then Toxie kills this like little tiny midget lady and stuffs her in a like washing machine. And then he's thinking to himself like, "Oh, I can't control my fucking urge to kill." So him and the blind lady like go out into the woods or whatever. He's trying to get away from civilization. But it comes to find out there was no repercussions to killing that lady because she was like a criminal as well, which I thought
Yeah,
was funny.
like a
Because he
leader
did,
of a sex ring or something.
yeah, some shit like that. So it didn't matter that he killed her, but he did kind of just kill that lady at random. He's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, tiny lady, kill." Uh, but yeah, so either way, the mayor is on his ass, and they got like everybody to try to kill Toxie, and then they're all pointing the guns at Toxie, and people start getting in front. They start standing in front of guns, like, "No, don't kill him. He's a hero." Blah blah blah, and they end up not killing Toxie, but he does go over to the big fat mayor and like rips his guts out in front of everyone.
yeah. I didn't expect that.
No, it also didn't make any sense because
I
nobody
thought he
knows.
was gonna be like, "Book him, officer."
Yeah, no, nobody knows that the mayor's corrupt. You know what I mean? Like the average person is just see like you would just see Toxie walk up to the big fat mayor and rip his guts out.
And the
Nobody,
mayor's trying to stuff all his guts back in.
yeah, nobody knows it. He's like the bad guy. But that's basically it. Just ends after that.
Yeah.
It's like and he continues to be the Toxic Avenger. I'm gonna have to watch the other movies. I'm gonna have to make Serena reluctantly watch the second and the third and the fourth.
I read that two and three weren't as popular, but the fourth one like made up for those two.
Yeah, they said two and three was supposed to be one movie, but it was too long, so they cut it into two. Because if you look at the release date, both of those came out in 1989, and like it takes place in like Japan or something. So people they don't like the second and third as much as they like the first and the fourth. So there's that, I guess. But either way, super awesome ratings on super awesome rating scale for Toxic Avenger. 1986 Toxic Avenger. I don't know. What would my super awesome ratings be? I would give it a 6.5. It's just so the acting and shit is so over the top. It's ridiculous. But I really do love the uh intense amount of blood, gore, crazy violence.
Had
Like,
some good practical effects in it too.
oh yeah, there's a lot of practical
That
effects.
scene where he pushed that guy's head underneath the weightlifting machine,
Oh yeah, I forgot about
dropped the
that one.
weights under it.
Dude, I think about that when you like pull down on a weight tree and it's got the where the pole part goes
Yeah, that
in.
little spike that's underneath all the
Yeah.
weights.
I'm like, if your hand was under that, you'd be done for. But he fucking sticks a guy's head in there. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was a solid practical effect right there.
I do think it's funny. Everybody's calling him the monster hero. But he was killing people that only bullied him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some
I don't
people that
even know
like
what that guy that was doing lifting weights did.
I don't think he did any he must have just
He was
been
some
there.
guy trying to pump iron.
And yeah, he just kills everybody, and everybody's like, "Yay!" I'm like, you don't deserve death for being mean to somebody. You know what I mean? Now you shouldn't be mean to people, but also you shouldn't kill people for saying something to you.
Yeah. Well, I'd give it a 7.
Give it a 7.
Yeah. It's
What'd I say?
right up my
6.5.
alley with uh over the top 80s movies.
Yeah. Uh, I give it 6.5. You go to 6 point or a 7. Tox Avenger. I would say if you want to watch something completely obnoxious, go for Toxic Avenger. It's got all the violence. It's corny. There's jokes. It's I wouldn't say it's for the faint of heart. That's for sure. But check out the Toxic Avenger. Recommended by the Super Awesome Podcast.
All right.
And I don't know what we're gonna do next week. I say the whale.
Well,
The whale. Brendan Fraser with the where he's all fat.
all right.
It's not a goofy fucking 80s movie, but it's a
Isn't it a drama or something?
yeah, it's really dramatic.
I don't want to see a drama with fat Brendan Fraser.
We're next week, Super Awesome Podcast, watching the whale
I want
with,
to see
with fat fuck
skinny
Brendan
Brendan
Fraser.
Fraser.
No, we're watching fat fuck Brendan Fraser. All right, that's it. Fucking like, share, subscribe,
All right.
motherfucker.